My name is Chris Stevenson, and this short video will give you a reflection of my journey in the Masters in Instructional Technology at Kennesaw State University to this point in time, and a glimpse to the vision from here on in. Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, and as you may have discerned, I was born and raised in a very different part of the planet, rural Northern Ireland, I started to tinker with technology. The daughter of an engineer, there was always gadgets in our home that had knobs and buttons and lights, and me as the curious kid had to experiment with them all. My first real computer opportunity was a BBC Acorn in primary school circa 1984, and after the thrill of waiting whole 30 minutes for the tape to load, I immersed myself in spelling, and perhaps my inner geek was born. And that lay very latent until university years. Digital deck systems at the Queen's University of Belfast reactivated my love for technology. And as an undergrad geography student in the days before Google Maps or Earth or Google anything, we were looking at the world through NASA satellite images and compiling data on SPSS systems with dot matrix printouts. As I pondered a career in education in the very small competitive pool of geography teachers in Northern Ireland, I figured that having some of these technology skills might well be useful in the future. So I started this journey, this degree, in 1997, not at Kennesaw State University, but at the University of Ulster in Jordanstown. I then found out, as I did now, that it is difficult balancing an emergent teaching career with grad school, and made it to the end of my second year, where I was awarded the Diploma in Computers and Education, where they taught us HTML and web creation. And so many hours went into creating that website that my students could not simply see, simply because they just didn't have the devices in the late 90s. I taught in a rural high school in Northern Ireland, where all the computers were siloed into that one computer room. There was an exciting emergent, mind you, in 1999 when one computer arrived and was hooked up to this new phenomenon, the internet. And it had a webcam where we could communicate with each other and other students in parts of Ireland through a project called Dissolving Boundaries Through Technology and Education. Little did I know that 2 short years later, I would be leading that project in the Republic of Ireland using video conferencing and web crossing and discussions for curriculum instruction. In 2001, is that a space odyssey? Let's roll on 12 years. Including marriage and a move to the United States, where I wrote curriculum for a middle school in North Carolina, and then on to join the faculty as an international baccalaureate middle years program and diploma program geography teacher at Atlanta International School for grades 6 through 12, which on any given day is where you will still find me. As an 8-year teacher of the International Baccalaureate Programme, I also wear many external hats to my school life, including consultant, examiner, professional development, workshop designer. In my 20th year in education, I am no stranger to transition, to change, and to shifting methods and strategies in teaching and learning. But there is one thing that I have always been very passionate about in my career: to find the best ways for my students to learn, taking risks, finding the engagement, but placing them at the very centre of inquiry. So when the time came to finish what I had started in 1997, I found Kennesaw State University in the Masters in Education and Instructional Technology was going to meet my needs, and then some. As I started this course at 39 years old in 2013, I wondered if I, as the digital adopter, could keep up with all of those natives. I found in reflection that while I have been challenged in all sorts of ways, from citing papers in APA to learning skill after skill in emergent technologies that are necessary to ensure that my students are really 21st century learners and future ready, that at every turn I felt my passion, my energy, my devotion to this vocation rise. During this course, in my school's one-to-one laptop setting, I have felt confident enough to ditch their folders, their files, their notebooks, and to use Google Sites for my student portfolios. From my position as a classroom teacher, I took this into my IB consultant workshop leader career and have integrated technology into workshops for IB teachers across the Americas, from Los Angeles to Vancouver to Bogota. My students in these classes are a little bit older, but the concepts of managing change and the mindset of trying the technology for the benefit of teaching and learning are still very much the same. Every semester, each iTech course has brought a new way of looking at technology, from learning the skills in 21st century tools, where we all got to play with cool tools like voice threads and screencasting, and some of the cool tools of the trade, to implementing the technology change in a school setting and reflecting very deeply on the bigger beast of making this all happen in an actual education setting. Each semester presented a different facet to looking at the diamond of technology integration in a new way, and at each insight, the importance of considering all of these to really see the holistic shine of it all. Something must have actually clicked in my school, because at the end of 2013-14, I got the opportunity to leave my beloved geography classroom behind and to serve as the school's technology integration teacher for Atlanta International School. A brand new challenge for me and for the school to work with teachers in deepening their use of technology in their classrooms for teaching and learning. Though my day-to-day technology integration with a faculty of over 60 6th through 12th grade teachers from over 15 different countries in 4 different instructional languages and many other different mother tongues, I am thrilled to think that thousands of students will benefit from learning and my learning in this master's programme, and that I truly continue to dissolve many more boundaries than I did at the beginning of the millennium. And where I want to be right now, and in the short term, I did not even imagine that this transition from classroom teacher to technology integrationalist would actually be so quick. But that's the technology world. 5 years ago, we didn't even have iPads, and I am sometimes slightly frightened to imagine what we will see in the next 5 years. In the summer of 2014, for example, I was the featured ISTE Live speaker for the Atlanta conference. The real stars, mind you, were my students, who were back channeling during my presentation with questions from the audience from around the world. I simply played with the participants in the room and challenged them to ditch their paper notebooks and use Google Docs and Sites and back channel for their teaching and learning in a one-to-one environment using portfolios. But I would have never imagined in a million years that happening just a few short years ago. This is not the end. While I graduate this programme in the spring of 2015, I've discovered in my 40-something self that learning is indeed lifelong, and that technology and innovation is not going to stop, and the opportunities are indeed endless for teaching and learning. My long-term goal is to have the opportunity to build a programme from the ground up, grassroots, to be that bleeding edger and change innovator in a school for students that need transition from perhaps a more traditional paradigm to being that future-ready set of students. As I forge an experience in an established one-to-one laptop programme now, I realise that there are many other educational landscapes out there that are pondering their next steps, and I might just be the person to direct and inspire their collective energies. With an open mind, I hope that my experience will continue to serve many students and educators in the years to come.